mediums. He has
Yeah, tell
broadcast
me.
nearly 100 variety
No, even lectures
science
were there.
programs, including live phone-in
Here,
programs in All India Radio, Gyanvani, Doordarshan, and so on. He has delivered more than 700 lectures on various science topics in educational and public service institutions and conducted teacher reorientation programs. So, given his background of being a space scientist and a science communicator, I'm sure you will all enjoy this talk given by him. And welcome again to this talk. And I call Dr. Guruprasad to deliver the talk.
Welcome. No, Martin. Okay, thank you. I'll call you back. Okay. Hello. Hope I am audible. Okay. Yeah, good afternoon to all of you. And on behalf of JNP, as Director of JNP, I welcome you all to this talk, public talk. Anyway, as Director of JNP, I'm welcoming you. Fortunately or unfortunately, I am the speaker also. Okay. Anyway, thanks a lot. First, before I start my lecture, let me thank all my colleagues who have helped me a lot in publicizing this, as well as you see technical support, how much they are struggling. Thank you. My heartfelt thanks to all of them. Oh, the camera is turning. Good. Okay. Now, yes, we are celebrating International Moon Day. No doubt about it. This is to commemorate and this is to celebrate the first human landing on the moon. Okay? First human landing on the moon on July 20th, that's what Americans say according to their standard time. But according to Indian standard time, it is tomorrow. Actually, July 21st at 8:29 a.m. is the time at which Neil Armstrong set his foot on the moon. That was the first human footstep to fall on the moon as such. So, anyway, according to IST, it is tomorrow. But anyway, all over the world, it is being celebrated. After all, the Apollo spacecraft were launched by the United States. Now, I'm going to give you a brief overview of the Apollo program, the background to it, and later what happened, I'm going to tell you what is the present status also as far as the lunar exploration is concerned. Kindly reserve your questions till the end and you can ask me questions. I would love to encourage questions. I'll do my level best to answer your questions if I can. Okay? So, without wasting time, let us go to the first slide. Neil Armstrong, the first man on the moon, is my ideal. In fact, whenever I listen to the name Neil Armstrong, goosebumps will be there for me. Yeah, it is electrifying, but I could not meet him when he was alive. Anyway, 2012 he passed away. In fact, I was having a stroll in the park in the morning, and one of my senior colleagues called me and said, Neil Armstrong is no more. So it was not easy to digest that. Anyway, he lived a good life, okay, and he was a unique human being, I would say. I'll come to that a little later. So, on July 28th, 1969, these were the words. Oh, you don't have audio? I think it, kindly bear with me for a moment. It's not there. It's okay. Just a moment, anyway. That's Neil Armstrong. You have to put a jack, isn't it? It is there. Huh? Why? But it should take from this itself, isn't it? In fact, yeah, yeah. But many a times, you can put it on that. No, even it is not possible. You can put it on the chair. Anyway, if we can take, yeah. Is it coming? Play mandla. Anyway, if it is not coming, don't worry about it. Okay, let's not waste time. Okay, if you can do something. Anyway, I'll repeat what he said. On July 21st, 1969, as per Indian Standard Time, Neil Armstrong actually he first told like this: "I am at the foot of the ladder of the spacecraft which he landed." Okay, so then he said he put his left leg firmly on the lunar dust. Okay, the top layer of the lunar soil, which is called as a regolith. Okay, he put his left foot and said, "That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind." What prophetic words, really. That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind. That is the way he told. And anyway, that was the culmination of what a fantastic effort to explore the moon using, with the help of humans, not the robotic spacecraft. That is Neil Armstrong. Okay, the man who had its own status in the history of humans, in fact, in the human history, and he has a unique place in it, no doubt about it, like Yuri Gagarin. And let me come to, if you can switch off the lights, they can better appreciate the quality of the slides, I feel, in fact. Okay, so humans, compared to any other forms of life, as we know, Earth is the only place where we know life definitely exists. Amongst these, humans are unique because they have the thinking capability. Okay, and they are the ones who have that exploratory zeal from the birth itself. Okay, of course, a lot of robots were sent to the moon, but humans were not satisfied. Humans wanted to go there themselves. Even today, moon is the only other world which humans have visited. No other world. Okay. So, and so exploration is in their blood, humans. So it is quite but natural for them. Look at Mount Everest. Okay. 1953 or so, it was scaled for the first time by Tenzing Norgay and Edmund Hillary, or the other way if you want to put it. Okay. Sir Edmund Hillary and Tenzing Norgay. And why do humans explore? What is there for them? Why they are so curious? This was best expressed by one mountaineer by name Captain Mallory. Okay. One correspondent asked him, "Why do you want to scale Mount Everest?" He told, "Because it is there." That is the human spirit, the exploratory zeal, exploratory spirit of humans. So humans have scaled the highest mountain, okay, Mount Everest, or in Hindi or Sanskrit or Kannada, whatever we say, Sagar Mata. That is the correct word. Many people think Gauri Shankara. It is not the thing. Sagar Mata. And that is the highest. Which is the lowest point on earth. There is a place called Challenger Deep, okay, in the Pacific Ocean. Challenger Deep. There is a trench called Marianas Trench, near the Philippines, let us say, near somewhat the Philippines. To be more precise, there are 3 groups of islands in Pacific known as Micronesia, Melanesia, Polynesia, 3 groups of islands. Micronesia is the place. There is an island called Guam, you might have heard about it, belongs to United States, nearby that place. And in 1960, there were 2 people by name Jacques Piccard as well as Don Walsh of the US Navy. They climbed into this, and here in this device, okay, they were sitting, okay, in this cupola or whatever you call it. They were sitting there in that spherical device, and they went down. Do you know how deep is the deepest point on the earth? It is about 11,025 meters. That is 11 kilometers, roughly. 11 kilometers below the sea level. Yes, already as early as 1960, they scaled that. Okay, so highest mountain, lowest point. What about the North Pole? Yes, Admiral Robert Peary. Okay, he was the first person to visit the North Pole, to reach the North Pole, and many people had died already. Okay, in this process. Okay, then what about the South Pole? Yes, anybody can tell me who explored who was the first person to go to South Pole? Yes, Roald Amundsen. Which country? Norway. Anyway, doesn't matter. Okay, Roald Amundsen. Okay, South Pole. So humans have endured all kinds of difficulties, risks, dangers, everything, and they have explored. But all these things pale into insignificance to a certain extent. Look at this. This is the greatest human adventure, I would say, because all these places, you know, this, they are all on earth. Okay? Though it is not as easy as standing here and giving a lecture. Okay? But this is totally different. You are visiting some other world in space, though might be nearest. Okay? So that is why I call it as the greatest adventure. This is the picture of Edwin Aldrin, the second man on the moon. Many people say, this is Neil Armstrong. No, Neil Armstrong, if you want to see, you can see him in the helmet here. Can you see that reflection? This picture is taken by Neil Armstrong of Edwin Aldrin. Unfortunately, there is no good picture of Neil Armstrong on the moon. Edwin Aldrin didn't take it. It was not scheduled, but he would have used his mind a little bit, in fact. But somehow you don't have any picture, good picture of Neil Armstrong on the moon. This probably billions of copies, even when I was in 5th standard, this happened. And I have seen this. I was thinking this was Neil Armstrong or something. But the thing is, this is Edwin Aldrin, the second man on the moon. Okay? So, at a place called, you please reserve the question later. Write down, I'll answer all the questions. Okay? Quickly I'll go. This is the spacecraft or the module of Apollo 11 spacecraft. This module is called as Lunar Excursion Module, or shortly Lunar. The name of that was Eagle. Okay? That's why when Neil Armstrong landed on the moon, okay, he didn't come out of the spacecraft. When he landed his spacecraft on the moon, he said, tranquility base here, the Eagle has landed. Okay, that is the word he used. I'll show that. Hopefully now the audio comes. It comes. It doesn't matter. Okay. Same thing. Look at the footstep, first human footstep on the moon. Definitely for thousands or even millions of years, this will be like this. It will remain the same, almost the same, which is not the case on the surface of the earth. It will remain the same, no doubt about it. First human footstep. Now, okay, why humans went to moon? Why not Mars directly? Why not Jupiter? Why not Mercury? The reason is simple. This is moon, our next door celestial neighbor. Because look at the distances that are there in astronomy. This is a very, very nearby distance. Okay? Very near to us. Only 3,84,000 kilometers. 3,84,399 kilometers. That is the latest. Okay, within 4 lakh kilometers. Okay, this is the heavenly neighbor of the earth. Of course, this is the only natural satellite of the earth. This is our moon. Okay, and because it is very near to us, so obviously this was the first target of human beings, in fact, before we go elsewhere. Okay, so I told you moon is at 3,84,000 kilometers. If you want to go to Venus, which is the nearest planet to us, not the nearest heavenly body, nearest planet to us, it is barely 4 crore kilometers. That is 100 times this distance. Want to go to Mars? Elon Musk is very much interested. Okay, 6 crore kilometers, roughly 5.6. I will take it as 6. It doesn't matter. So this is a very nearby human, nearby celestial heavenly body, I would say. Look at the Earth and the Moon. This is an animation. Okay, so let's quickly. Moon revolves around the Earth in an elliptical or egg-shaped or oval-shaped. Okay, so when it is very near to Earth, it is 3,63,000, and when it is far away from the Earth, 4,05,000 kilometers. So it is elliptical orbit. It is not a circular orbit. In nature, there is no such thing as circular orbit. No, everything is elliptical only whenever there is a closed curve. But how near that ellipse is to the circle, that is very important. For small children, very young students, I would say they don't know what is eccentricity and all those things. For little bit grown-ups, you know what is eccentricity. That is a term which defines how much of difference is there between a circle and an ellipse, let us say. So that is. So now moon revolves around the Earth once in 27.3 days. Moon revolves around Earth once in 27.3 days. And look, because of that, during this 27.3 days, moon, whatever hemisphere of the moon which is illuminated by the sun, how much it is visible to us, that decides the phase of the moon. You have new moon, okay, quarter moon, let us say half moon, gibbous moon, full moon, like that. Again, the reversal is there. I will show you something. So it defines that. The curious thing is, okay, moon revolves around the Earth once in 27.3 days. At the same time, moon spins around its own axis again once in 27.3 days. It's a very, very, I would not say rare coincidence. Yeah, it's a coincidence in the sense. Okay, that's the way it is. What is the end result of all these things? You can never see one hemisphere of the moon. Okay, whatever you should say, far side of the moon. Many people say it is the dark side of the moon, which is not the case. Okay, because the far side of the moon is as illuminated as the near side, whatever is visible to us. Whenever it is a new moon day here, okay, Hunnima or Paurnima here, it is Amavasya there. Okay, that is new moon day. Whenever it is a full moon day there, it is new moon day here. So that is the way. Don't call it as dark side of the moon. It is far side of the moon. Okay. Now let us see how big is the moon. Earth has a diameter of 12,700 kilometers. Okay, it's 12,761 kilometers or something, and the moon has a diameter which is 3,476 kilometers. That is 1/4 the diameter of the Earth. And what about the mass? That is the material which is contained in the moon. Compared to Earth, you have to put 81 moons so that the mass of the Earth will be equivalent to 81 moons. So diameter is 1/4, mass is 1/81, 181. So what is the end result? End result I will show you. This is the end result. Look at that. When astronauts are walking on the moon, it is like kangaroo hop. Look at that, the way in which they are, this one, okay, they are trying to plant a flag, US flag on the moon. Look at that, they are jumping. And if you want to see them jumping with joy also, it is possible. Hopefully the next this one it comes. No, it's not coming. Oh, it's
When much to my surprise, a pair of early eyes. Oh, this is a neat way to travel. Isn't it great?
look at that jumping with joy. In fact,
I like to skip along.
look at that kangaroo hopping. Because, okay, see, they are saying, I was strolling on a moon one day. That is the thing, that is what they are singing, Apollo 17 astronauts, okay. So, because of less mass and smaller diameter, so gravity on the moon is 1/6 of that on the earth. If you weigh 100 kilograms on earth, you will weigh only 16 kilograms on the moon. So that's why they are jumping like that. And now look at that. This picture, this animation shows, you see, the way in which moon is always presenting one face towards us. Can you see that? It is called as synchronous rotation, because moon takes 27.3 days to go around the earth. At the same time, it takes 27.3 days to spin around its own axis. Okay. Now, the other effect of the moon is this, what is known as tides. Look at that. When high tide is there was water and ships are floating, and when low tide is there, this is due to the moon only. This tidal effect is due to the gravitational influence of the moon, which is very near to Earth. And moon is a horrible place. Don't think that it is, though 12 people have walked on the moon, it is a nice place or anything like that. If you go in shirt sleeve environment like this and try to stand there, all the fluids in your lungs will come out once for all the fluids, and your blood starts boiling within your blood vessels. Okay? And you just can't tolerate the temperature because it's about plus 100 degrees centigrade. Then, if you go to the night side, it may plummet to minus 150 degrees centigrade, minus 150 degrees Celsius. Horrible place. Not only that, look at that. This astronaut who is standing here, okay, it's not visible here. He's standing here, his temperature might be plus 100. If he goes here, it goes to maybe minus 70, minus 80, minus 100. Look at that. Is it possible if I go from here to there or from day to night? How much of a difference is there? Not much. That itself we grumble. Okay? Look at the moon. This is the thing. And moon has got all the features. Okay? Which are such features are there on the surface of the earth also. Like look at the mountains there and look at the shadows. They are so sharp on the moon. Look at the craters. Thousands, tens of thousands of, why millions or hundreds of millions of craters are there on the moon. And crater within craters, you see, in fact. Okay? I want to show you this picture especially because this is one of the best pictures of the surface of the moon. And actually, this picture, what you see here, this is the part of the rim of a crater, which is more than 120 kilometers in diameter. What you see is part, that white color chalk kind of thing, part of the rim of a crater, which is more than 120 kilometers in diameter on the surface of the moon. Why I am showing this picture and telling so much? This picture is taken by your spacecraft, Chandrayaan-1 spacecraft in 2008, in fact. Look at the way in which the kind of details you see there, in fact. This was not yesterday. As early as 2008, we have taken this picture. In fact, I thought I would show you a movie of this. I'm sorry, I could not. Anyway, maybe at some other time. And humans, have been craving to go to the moon. Not only moon, they have always aspired to go to, travel to the sky. There was no difference between sky and space for a long time. Anyway, let's not bother about that. And they wanted to travel to space, ascend to the sky and visit the worlds which were visible to them during the night time or even during the daytime like sun and moon. But having aspiration, desire is one thing, but where do you have the wherewithal to travel to space? It was not there. Mere craving doesn't bring you anything. In fact, you have to have technology for that. The device, the technology, the machine which made it possible was rocket. That is the one. Till rockets were built, it was not possible. Anyway, 19th century science fiction writers like Jules Verne, okay, Jules Verne, he was a very famous one. He wrote a novel called From the Earth to the Moon. Okay, in that he talked about launch of people to moon, humans to moon in a cannon, by using a cannon in a spacecraft. If anybody were to be launched like that, they would have been crushed to death, no doubt about it. All of you might have seen how Shubhanshu Shukla went to space very recently. You know how many G forces he had to endure, that is, when depending on this acceleration of the rocket and the way in which its path is there, it appears as though to astronauts that their weight is increasing. So I was pointing out when I was giving live commentary, at the most his G forces were 3.5 times. That is, a maximum of 3.5 times his weight increased. That is what he felt. So that's all. Nowadays rockets accelerate like that. But if you, like in this story, if you were to launch humans in a cannon, that's all. They would be crushed to death because of the acceleration. How many of you have read Tintin novels? Yeah, good. Look at that, Tintin on the moon. Okay. So Snow is there. Captain Haddock is there. Okay. Any one of you remember what he says? Billions of blue blistering barnacles, 10,000 thundering typhoons, you ectoplasm. Okay. Bashi bazook. He says, so these are the terms he uses. So nice. Even I was mesmerized by this. But anyway, those were all fiction. Okay. The Belgian cartoonist, Hergé, he's the one who wrote Tintin. But anyway, look at that. On October 4th, 1957, humans could able to launch something, okay, into space using a huge rocket like this. That was the Soviet Union on October 4th, 1957 from Kazakhstan. So look at that. This is the first artificial satellite of the Earth, Sputnik 1. It was a 84 kg hollow metallic sphere. That's all. Nothing else. It had a transmitter, beep, 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 beep. It was nothing else. But anyway, it heralded the space age. So then there was a tug of war between the United States and the Soviet Union. That was the Cold War era. Okay, wars were being fought, but there was a Cold War also going on. That is, then United States and Soviet Union, one was supposed to be a democracy, the other one was a communist system. Which one is the best one? Both of them wanted to prove we are the best, we are the best. So like Olympic sprinters, they fought in space. So in the initial years, excuse me, the Soviet Union actually gained an upper hand. The world's first artificial satellite was from the Soviet Union. The world's second artificial satellite was also from the Soviet Union, that carried a dog called Laika. Okay. Then Soviet Union was the first country to launch a probe towards the moon. Okay. But the probe missed the moon by 6,000 kilometers. They said that it was, after all, it was just launched towards the moon to pass by. That they lied, it seems. That's what people said. It doesn't matter. But at least that spacecraft called Lunik 1, it did not detect any magnetic field for the moon. There was no magnet. That was the first time humans knew that moon doesn't have a magnetic field. Then Lunik 3 or Luna 3 is the one, this is the one which did a fantastic job. I told you already, because moon takes 27.3 days to go around the earth once and 27.3 days to spin around its own axis. One portion of the moon, one hemisphere of the moon is not visible to us, far side. This spacecraft, after it was launched, it went so far away, even beyond the far side of the moon, took pictures of the far side of the moon. When it came near the earth, it transmitted. For the first time in the history of in the human history people saw as to how the far side of the moon looked. This is the crude picture which it sent. Look at that on the, I'll show you a little bit later. On the side which is visible to us, you see lot of dark areas, very large areas. They are known as Maria. Maria is plural, mare. Mare means sea in Latin and even today in Italian. But this lacks that Maria. Okay. Anyway, Neil Armstrong was the first man. Americans, first man in space. Americans could not assimilate in those days because there was an intense competition. Then first woman to go to space, Valentina Tereshkova in 1963. First man to so-called walk in space, Alexei Leonov was a Russian, Soviet. So American pride was hurt. Anyway, they had their Apollo program. That is what I am coming to now. Look at that. Apollo spacecraft was built to send humans to moon and to bring them back safely. So President Kennedy, an electrifying speech, okay, to Congress, he made, I believe that this nation, this means USA, I believe that this nation should commit itself of achieving the goal before this decade is out, that is 1960, of landing a man on the moon and bringing him safely back to Earth, he told. So Apollo program had unlimited money provided by the United States government, and this is the Apollo spacecraft on the top, you can see. But anyway, when Kennedy announced that only one person had, one American had been to space, he had not even orbited the Earth, he just went to space, had come back in a very, very, very small capsule, not even a spacecraft, a capsule called Mercury. Okay, that's the thing. Then anyway, after Kennedy's speech, things started moving very fast, and after Mercury spacecraft program, 6 astronauts went in that, and then there was Gemini, okay, where 2 astronauts went in a spacecraft. Mercury was capable of taking only 1 astronaut, Gemini 2, okay. Then Apollo could able to take 3. So each step, Mercury was the first step. Mercury did not go to moon. Mercury spacecraft was orbiting the Earth. Gemini also was capable of orbiting the Earth. Only Apollo was capable of taking humans to moon. Okay. Then, okay, Apollo itself had 3 parts. I will tell you a little bit later. Look at that, how big the Mercury spacecraft was. So small, in fact. Look at Gemini, where it could be able to carry 2 people. Okay. And look at Apollo, 3 people. See, Apollo spacecraft had 3 parts, okay, or 3 modules, let us say. See, where for the most part on their way to moon and while coming back from the moon, 3 people were sitting, 3 astronauts were sitting in this conical part, this part. It is called as command module. Then behind that, this part, the cylindrical part here, from here to here, this is called as service module. Command module was like the brain of the Apollo spacecraft, where people were sitting, 3 people for the most part. And service module, what services it was providing? It had the capability to provide oxygen, it had the capability to provide electricity, it has the capability to provide water to the astronauts. That's why it is called as service module. Then the third part was like a spider, it looks, lunar module in fact. Lunar excursion module or lunar module. So these 3 parts. Step by step they tested. First, command and service module they tested in Earth orbit, they took to the moon, and again they took all the 3 to the lunar orbit, first to Earth orbit, then to lunar orbit, then only they landed. Okay. Look at that. But anyway, in their rush to go to the moon, there were tragedies which were inevitable. On January 27th, 1967, 3 people, while sitting on the surface of a pad, participating in a launch rehearsal, not a regular launch, for the launch, when they were involved in, their spacecraft caught fire. They could not come out. they were burnt there within the spacecraft while sitting on the launch pad itself in this space. It was a tragedy. 3 people, okay, they are the heroes for me especially, okay. His name, one of them was called as Edward White, okay. He was the first American to walk in space, so-called walk in space or float in space. Then the second American to go to space was sitting here, Gus Grissom, okay. And there was a person by name Roger Chaffee, who was the first time, they call it as rookie or upstart, they say, rookie astronaut, all the 3. When I went to Purdue University, I was overwhelmed to see that there is an airport named after Roger Chaffee, actually. Okay, so this was Apollo 1 tragedy on the launch pad itself in 1967. Barely 3 months later, Russians lost their first cosmonaut. While coming back to Earth, its parachute did not deploy at 400 kilometers per hour. It came and hit the surface of Earth, and he instantaneously got killed. His name was Vladimir Komarov, okay, another hero. Now, after Apollo 1 tragedy, there were inevitable modifications on the Apollo spacecraft, and you see Apollo 7, Apollo 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, without humans they tested, and Apollo 7 was the first. You see what you see here is, here down below, cylindrical thing is service module. That conical thing, blue color thing is command module, where 3 astronauts will sit. So it went to Earth orbit and came back safely. Then what happened was, those were the days of the Cold War. Then they thought that they would test the entire Apollo spacecraft in Earth orbit again. Suddenly they decided to send them to the moon. Why? Because there were intelligence reports in the United States that Soviet Union was trying to preempt them, that is beat them by sending their first cosmonaut to the moon, not to land, at least to circle and come back. So why should they allow them? So they took the step of launching Apollo 8 to the moon directly. Okay, look at that. This was the rocket, the moon rocket, they say, called Saturn V. How big it is, do you know? It is as high as a 36-story building. 36-story building from down top to bottom, or bottom to top, whatever you say. So this is the rocket, and as I told you, Apollo 8, when it was sent to the moon, only this part, this entire part was sent. This part was not sent. Lunar module it was not ready at all. It was not sent. So these are the great guys. One of them is still alive. Okay, at least 2 of them, I think. This is William Anders, James Lovell, Frank Borman. Okay, these 3 people, in fact. Okay, Frank Borman, James Lovell, William Anders. These 3 people. I think James Lovell is 95-year-old now. Okay, 95. Okay, Frank Borman is no more. Okay, these 3 were the first humans to achieve the escape velocity of the Earth. They were the first people to leave from the gravitational clutches of the Earth and travel towards another heavenly body. Look at that. This is the launch of Apollo 8, Saturn V. And look at that. And they were the first people to see the entire Earth, because nobody else had gone that far. Look at the Earth. Can you identify what is this down below? Which continent? South America, yes. South America, you can see. North America is totally engulfed by clouds. So continent, you see brown color. White colored things are clouds, and blue color is water. Okay. So this is the Apollo 8 picture. They were the first people to see the entire Earth, and they took the picture. And look at the command and service module. This is the one which they are all sitting here inside that command module. They went around the Earth first, and they again ignited that. They again ignited the rocket engine, that is Saturn V rocket engine. They went towards the moon. Once they went, I think next slide may have that. Okay, look at that. The way in which first they circled the Earth, then their rocket actually provided them enough escape velocity, and they went towards the moon. But once they went towards the moon, when they were on the back side of the moon, this engine which is there, rocket engine, it fired. Okay, it is called as SPS, Service Propulsion System. It fired, and instead of just going around the moon once in an arc and coming back towards the earth, it started orbiting the moon. Okay, this rocket engine, if it were not to fail, then were not to work, that would have been the end. It would have been difficult. Okay, for about 10 times they circled the moon, and this is the way in which at the time of their launch, moon was there. Then they went towards the moon, started circling it again. They escaped from the moon, and while once they finished orbiting the moon, and when they were about to come back, again that rocket engine had to fire. If it were not to fire, it would have been a permanent monument for them. That's all. People were so worried. It was 1968 Christmas time. People were very much worried. Then what happened? Nothing happened. It worked extremely well. None of those rocket engines had any problem. Okay, look at that. Then, of course, they came back, and now was the time for testing lunar module also. This part they had sent. This is the rocket engine I told you, crucial one. And now this part also has to be tested, lunar excursion module or lunar module. But anyway, no, it was not easy, because in order to get trained as to how to operate this, they use this kind of a very peculiar vehicle using a jet engine on the earth. They were trained. Neil Armstrong, when he was like this astronaut, Neil Armstrong, when he was testing that, it tilted at one angle and he could not control. He just ejected and it crashed. And when he came down, he had a cut on his body. He didn't even bother. He had first aid. He proceeded to his work. That is the way. That is why I said, they are the heroes. Now 600 people have gone to space. That is different. So, Neil Armstrong, Edwin Aldrin, Neil Armstrong, Michael Collins, Edwin Aldrin. These three people who undertook historic journey to moon. And Neil Armstrong was a very, very serious person, highly intellectual. And Edwin Aldrin, from one of perhaps the best American university or prestigious American university, Massachusetts Institute of Technology. He had his PhD from there. So these two. Yeah, he is the only one who is alive. These two are dead now. Okay, so Neil Armstrong and Edwin Aldrin were very serious personalities. So somebody had to balance them. Michael Collins was a very jovial man. I'll tell you something, otherwise all this lecture will be monotonous. So once one correspondent asked Michael Collins, it seems, Mr. Collins, when you were sitting on top of the rocket, a giant rocket, okay, what did you feel? Okay, what did you think? Or how did you feel? And Michael Collins, the central one, he told it, do you really want to know? Of course, sir, that is why I'm asking. Yes. Okay, when I was sitting on top of a rocket, I was thinking like this. I'm sitting on top of a rocket built from 6 million parts, each supplied to the government by the lowest bidder. What would be my fate? That is what he was thinking, it seems so. That is how it was, okay? Anyway, I went to Neil Armstrong Hall of Engineering. When I went to Purdue with my family, I was the first person to take the picture with Neil Armstrong's statue. He studied in this university, okay? Purdue, okay? That is the university from where Professor C.N.R. Rao also actually got his PhD. Okay, well and good. So this is Saturn V. Anybody interested to know how it felt? Okay. And this Saturn V had 5 engines in its first stage. 5 engines. Each of those engines, they were called as F1s. Okay. The fuel was some kind of kerosene, not the kerosene which we use nowadays. Nobody knows what is kerosene. Okay. Seamen we used to call once upon a time. Kerosene, it is called as kerosene, but it is called as RP1, refined paraffin. Okay. that is the one as the fuel, and liquid oxygen as the oxidizer. So, do you know it had 5 engines? When I went to Kennedy Space Center, I have taken picture of this. Okay, here 5 engines, all of them are there. Each one of them per second. By the time you blink once, each one of those engines would have gobbled, that is eaten, 3 tons of propellant. So every second, 3 into 5, 15 tons of propellants was just disappearing. That is how tremendous thrust, 3,000 tons of rocket actually was able to lift off. Okay, I'll show you the.
We have been given the scientific knowledge,
He is the man who
the
built that
technical
rocket.
ability, and the materials to pursue the exploration of the universe. To ignore these great resources would be a corruption of a God-given ability.
10, 9, ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running.
See, 5 FN engines are firing. Okay. So that's the way Saturn V is going. 36-story high rocket. Okay. This is science in action. See, everything is based on science. Yes, combustion. What is combustion? Okay. You know very well. You study it in schools, textbooks. That is what is happening. Science in action. But you know how much of engineering has gone into these things. That's why you should get inspired by such things. See, tomorrow we have plenty of opportunity in India. Okay, next, then this was the way in which Saturn V, see, lunar module is there down below, and whatever I showed you earlier, not in the same configuration, it is sitting below, then command and service module is above that, then they took it somehow, I don't want to go into details of that. Then this is the command module, you see where it is, they have shown, 3 people are sitting there. Then this is the way from Earth, first they circled the Earth, then they achieved the escape velocity and went to the moon, and moon was also moving around the Earth. For about a day they were there and they came back again. Okay, see, actually when they were circling the moon, okay, in order to get into an orbit around it, they have to reduce their speed like Apollo 8 did. Okay, and so that instead of curving around the moon, it was captured into an orbit. Okay, then look at that. This is the way Earth looks. We have half moon here, like that half Earth will be there. Okay, but Earth will be very bright because moon reflects only about 6 to 7% of the light that falls on it. Earth reflects 37%. and the earth is 4 times bigger. What could be the sight? You see, this is the lunar landscape, and from lunar orbit, this is the way it looks. And then in lunar orbit, this command and service module and lunar module got separated. It is the lunar module which landed on the surface of the moon. Look at that. That is what it is. It is just going towards the surface of the moon. It has not yet started firing its engine, which is there, that is called descent engine. This is the one, this rocket engine. This rocket engine, this is the one which took them to the surface of the moon slowly. Okay. And this is the way it looked. Another view of this one. Both of them are flying in the lunar orbit, and this is the way it fired its engine and slowly it landed on the surface of the moon. Look at that. I'll show you.
Eagle, Houston, we see you on the steerable, over.
Look at that. From lunar
Roger,
module,
Eagle,
this is the
send
command
up.
and service module.
Roger, how does it look? Eagle has wings.
Look at that.
Right.
That is lunar module. See, what I'm talking about is more to do with engineering and orbits. I'll come to science a little bit later, shortly. No, not Michael Collins. That will be Neil Armstrong or Edwin Aldrin. Michael Collins will talk only when he is alone. Look at that. So it is going. Anyway, shortly you will see, in fact, how. Yeah, this is at mission control in Houston. Okay. Even Shubhanshu Shukla was.
Flight controllers, go for landing. Retro. Go. Fido. Go. Guys, go. Control. Go. Telcom. Go. GNC. Go. Ecom. Go. Surgeon. Go. Capcom, we're go for landing. Altitude 4,200.
Houston, you're a go
So
for
we are
landing,
go
over.
for landing.
Roger, understand, go for landing, 3,000
What?
feet. You're looking great.
3,000 feet.
How you doing, Control? We look good here. Fine. How about you, Telcom? Go. Guidance, you have
Yeah,
to go.
this is the real picture taken by Neil Armstrong and Edwin Aldrin. This is not.
47 degrees, Roger. 47 degrees.
Yes, yes.
Still looking very good. Your go.
From the window he has taken the picture. See, that is the
1201.
horizon. Yeah,
1201.
it has
Roger,
tilted.
1201 alarm.
1201 alarm. Same type, we're go, flight. Okay, we're go.
We're go. Same type. We're go.
Altitude 1,600.
Eagle looking great. Roger,
It
1202.
is
we got
nail
you.
biting finish.
35
As
degrees,
we said. Ugru
750.
kachavanga agate.
Coming down to 23.
Look at that. Yes, yes, yes. They are nearing the surface.
540 feet and a 15.
See, you can see
10 and
the
50 feet down at 4.
shadow of the probes.
Altitude, velocity,
landing
lights.
lights.
3.5 down, 220 feet. 11 forward, coming down nicely, 200 feet. 4.5 down, 5.5 down. 100 feet, 3.5 down, 9 forward. Okay, 75 feet. Guys looking good, down a half.
Now you see the shadow
forward.
as it appears
60 seconds.
because it is
Lights on,
sunlight is
Forward.
at an angle.
forward.
Look
20
at that.
feet down, 2.5.
Dust
Picking up
is
some
kicking
dust.
up.
Straight shadow. 4 forward, drifting to the right
Can you
a
see
little.
that?
30 seconds forward.
That is the landing leg.
Contact light.
Yeah, contact
Okay,
light.
engine stop. We copy you down, Eagle.
Listen.
Houston, Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed.
Tranquility base here, the eagle has landed. I told you, earlier. That is what he said. Okay, just in 1 minute, I will tell you something, another drama. When they were at 33,500 feet, the computer gave an alarm. You are overwhelming me. That is, you are giving me too much of work. Okay? If you don't take away unwanted work, I myself will take away unwanted work, but I will do whatever is necessary, but the decision is mine, it told. That computer is not at all comparable to my mobile even today. It had a 4 KB RAM or something like 64 KB memory. Now I have 128 GB memory here. Okay? Can we believe, in fact, and that is the computer that took them to moon. So it said, unwanted tasks I am not going to do. I will do only essential tasks. The decision is mine. But they didn't understand. Even Neil Armstrong was perturbed. What is this 1202 alarm? He said, then, okay, that's a different drama. Then one more 1201 alarm came. Everything was resolved, fortunately. Otherwise, they would have cast off the lower stage and come back again, and history would have been different. That was not the case. Look at that. Once this man, his name was Charles Duke, he later went to moon in Apollo 16. Apollo 16. He was the man who was communicating with Neil Armstrong and Edwin Aldrin and the entire Apollo. So he said, tranquility base here, the Eagle has landed. When he told, hardly 20 seconds of fuel, propellants were left. It would have crashed even. 20 seconds, they could not even believe. So immediately, as Neil Armstrong said, tranquility base here, the Eagle has landed, this guy had to acknowledge. Then he could not speak. He stammered, tranquility. We copy you down, Eagle. You got a bunch of guys who are about to turn blue. Thanks a lot, he says. So he was so much of commotion because, they would have died. Okay, anyway, that is the thing. Now I will play what Neil Armstrong said. Again, I'm playing that.
The surface appears to be very, very fine grained as you get close to it. It's almost like a powder. Ground mass is very fine. I'm going to step off the lamina. That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind. Oh, that looks beautiful.
Okay, you heard him. That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind. He told. Okay, anyway, that is the thing. That was the greatest thing to happen. 8:29 a.m. Indian Standard Time, July 21st, not 20th. Anyway, Moon Day we are celebrating. That is this picture I am playing again. I am showing again Edwin Aldrin, man on the moon. Okay, the place where they landed on the surface of the moon, that is known as Sea of Tranquility. Where is the sea there? There is no such thing. Okay, water is not there in a sea like Arabian Sea. Okay, like that Arabian Sea or even Mediterranean Sea, Red Sea, like that. There is nothing like that. Okay, because when first moon was studied using telescopes, dark areas were confused to be watery areas. That is why I will come to that. Anyway, Sea of Tranquility. This is the place where humans first landed on the moon. Look at that. This is the flag which Neil Armstrong and Edwin Aldrin planted, and they placed what is known as a retroreflector. I'm coming to science now. Okay, the retroreflector is a device which, when something is incident on it, a laser light, it reflects back parallel. So using this, now we can find out how far the moon is anytime. When you use a laser, point it towards that, we can measure the distance to moon to millimeter accuracy. From that, we know that moon is moving away from the earth every year by 3.8 centimeters. Moving away, 3.8 centimeters per year. Okay, well and good. And they placed other, to measure the solar wind, that is the particles from the sun, and they put a seismometer, that is like earthquakes. Scientists wanted to understand the internal structure of the moon, so moonquakes they wanted to detect. And many people ask me, how did they come back from the moon? From the earth, they went to moon using rocket. From the moon, how did they come back? Yes, again, that is the rocket. Lunar module is there. This lunar module, this is called as the descent stage, half of it, descent stage. This is called as ascent stage. So this engine, descent stage engine is the one which I showed you. That is the one which fired. Now, using the descent stage as the launch pad, they ascended. That is how they left the lunar surface. You can see this. Another 10 seconds.
Stage, push. Engine arm is out. Okay, I'm going to get the pro. 99, proceeded. 3, 2, 1. Ignition. Right away, Houston. Vector good. Ag thought. Good over. Roger, you have good thrust.
Anyway, that's it.
Okay, 30 seconds. 308 your number. Okay, coming through 1,500 feet, and H dot looks good.
Actually, that was not the launch of Neil Armstrong and Edwin Aldrin, a later spacecraft, Apollo spacecraft. Just to make you understand how they went up again, I showed you. Again, you see, it came to lunar orbit. That it also started circling the moon. Then it met this, the mother craft, where you are asking, Michael Collins was in this, and he was the loneliest man for quite a long time. Okay, especially when he was on the far side of the moon, Earth was not visible. He was really had a surrealistic feeling, it seems. So that's the thing. Again, they came back. Okay, first command and service module left the lunar orbit. Then it re-entered the Earth's atmosphere at 40,000 kilometers per hour. 40,000. That is the escape velocity of the Earth, which is 11.2 kilometers per second is equivalent to 40,000 kilometers per hour. Because 11.2 kilometers per second means we don't understand it. Okay. So you can see three people. Okay. They had to brave a temperature of 1650 degrees. Anyway, nothing happened to them because inside the spacecraft it was very comfortable. They came and landed, and they started floating in the Pacific Ocean, and they were quarantined for about 3 weeks because people were thinking moon may contain some harmful germs. But after about 2 Apollo flights, it got discontinued. Okay, quarantine was a term which I had seen it only in dictionary. Anyway, thanks to COVID, we know what is quarantine. All of us know. Okay, that is quarantine. Okay, this is the end of Apollo 11. Okay, everything was there, and even Neil Armstrong, Edwin Aldrin, Michael Collins visited India. Okay, well and good. What next? I said, journeys of Apollo astronauts to moon. What about Apollo 12? Yes, that is also interesting. Apollo 11, where did it land? Sea of Tranquility. See, Sea of Tranquility is a lowland area. Sea means it's a dark area. I will show you later what it is. Okay. Then what about the next Apollo? Where did it land? That is yet another lowland area. They landed it. Okay. It is called as Oceanus Procellarum. That is Ocean of Storms. Look at the fancy names they have given. Ocean of Storms, Sea of Tranquility, this kind of thing. So this is so-called Ocean of Storms, where you see that lunar module is there on the top. For about 1 kilometer, this astronaut has walked to this spacecraft, which had landed earlier, and he is collecting samples from that. Okay. So this was a very accurate landing. Apollo 12. Then Apollo 13, you might have seen the movie. I would advise each one of you to go and see Apollo 13 movie, Hollywood movie, Tom Hanks. Fantastic movie. You don't miss it. I'd recommend. So nicely, better than any documentary, in fact. And the human aspect. See, actually Apollo 13 was supposed to land in a place called Fra Mauro. Fra Mauro is the name of an Italian astronomer, but it's also a lowland kind of thing. But they could not because there was an accident. People thought that they would die, all the 3 astronauts, but nothing happened. Fortunately, that one can speak for 2 hours. I don't want to. Fra Mauro was the third one, which I thought I would show you a clipping, but it is not possible. It didn't take. Then Apollo 13, a lot of lessons were learned. Apollo 11, Sea of Tranquility. Apollo 12, Oceanus Procellarum. Apollo 13, Fra Mauro did not land. Apollo 14, they took it to Fra Mauro. That is also a lowland. Okay, they took it and landed. Virtually, you can see the lander sitting there. And Apollo 15, okay, they went to highland. It is like, landing on a mountainous area, not on the mountain itself, mountainous area, highland area. They landed because if you want to study the moon, you have to collect rocks from different places. So Apollo 15 landed in a place called Hadley Apennine region. In fact, Hadley Apennine region, that is a highland area, and you can see this was the lunar buggy. I would advise you, why don't you all come and to our sky show? And there is one show called Dawn of Space Age, Saturdays and Sundays. Okay, that show is there at 10:30 English, 11:30 Kannada. Okay, you can see that very nicely. These things are shown in the Sky Theatre. Kindly do come. Hadley Apennine region. This is the highland. So they carried this lunar buggy, 4-wheeled rover. Okay, and next you can see an astronaut jumping with joy in this. This is Apollo 16. Okay. So Apollo 16 again, they went to Descartes Highlands, okay, written as Descartes, that's a French name. Descartes is the name of the French mathematician and philosopher. Descartes Highland, they landed. Look at that, their choice. No point in knowing the names, but the systematic way in which the Descartes Highlands, Apollo 16, then Apollo 17, a geologist also went to moon. He is the only geologist scientist who has gone to moon, Harrison Schmitt. Okay, this is in a place called Taurus Littoral region, Taurus Mountains and Littoral Crater. That is the area where they collected. And Apollo 15 actually they collected a rock which they call as Genesis rock because it was 4.1 billion years old. Now later Apollo 16 collected 4.41 billion year old rock also. Anyway, that is the thing. And Apollo 17 was the last Apollo. After that, nobody has stepped on the moon. After December 1972, for 53 years almost, nobody has stepped on the moon. No human being, at least. Yeah, as I told you, here you can see Apollo 11. You can see whatever is visible to us as far as the moon is concerned. Sea of Tranquility, Apollo 12, Oceanus Procellarum, Apollo 13 did not land, Apollo 14, From-Morrow region, Apollo 15, Hadley Apennine, Apollo 16, Descartes Highlands, Apollo 17, Taurus Littoral. So, this is the way, all of them. You can see technician handling the lunar rocks. You know how much of rocks and soil samples humans have brought back? 384 kilograms. Okay? And what is the use of all these things? Let's go to science quickly. Okay, what are the scientific takeaways of Apollo? What so-called, okay, they went to moon, they explored, it provided confidence to humans, we can ascend to the sky and go to the other worlds, etc., etc. That's all okay, exploration, engineering. What about science? Yeah. After these rocks and soil samples were brought back, 384 kilograms, when scientists analyzed, now they know, after analysis, that like Earth, moon also has got a core, inner core which is solid, outer core which is liquid, a mantle as well as a crust. Okay? Though it is not similar to Earth, either in extent or in composition, to a certain extent, yes. Second thing is, before Apollo went to moon, many people did not know for sure, let me say for sure, whether the craters on the moon, whether they were due to impact of asteroids or comets, whatnot, in fact, or whether they were due to volcanic eruptions. Nobody knew. Now, for the most part, they know craters on the moon is due to impact. Not that they are craters which are due to volcanic activity are not there. They are few and far between. Okay? Then look at that. This is the 4.41 billion year old rock. Okay? This rock is, this is the one. You can see how big it is and all those things. And now, more than anything else, this will take 1 minute, I will tell you. How did the moon come into existence? It just came from like a belt from the blue. Science will not accept such things. So many people were thinking Earth and moon were formed at the same time. They said, where is the proof? Proof was not very convincing. Then somebody said, more enlightened people, no, actually it was not like that. Moon was a wandering object. Somehow, due to quirk of fate, it came very near to Earth and it got captured. Capture theory is not easy. That's why, to put something into orbit, we had to fire rocket engines. So it's not easy. Third theory said, Earth when it was formed, it was moving so fast, spinning so fast, one part of it moved away from that, broke away from it, and that became, even that could not. Then fourth one, revolutionary one, after they brought back soil samples, now they know in the early solar system, about 4 billion years back or even earlier, maybe a few 100 million years after Earth was formed, an object which was as big as Mars It came and hit the earth, it seems. It was called as Thea. They have named it. Nobody called it at that time. Now they have given it a name, Thea. Thea, Thea. And in that process, lot of material was ejected out of the earth and started circling the earth like rings of Saturn. And all of them came together very shortly, within 1,000 years or something like that. And they became the moon. Then, fourth thing is, what science? In the 19th century, people were thinking that there were humans on the moon with a lot of wings and all those things. Okay, now people know there is no life on the moon. Okay, not even organic compounds have been found in sizable quantities or anything like that. Okay, so that we know very well. That is why quarantine was discontinued after that. Then, moon consists of three types of rocks. Okay, one is called basalt, that is an oceanic crust rock. The other one is called breccia. Okay, they are all found in the lowland areas. Apollo 11, 12, 13, they got these things. And Apollo 15, it brought back anorthosites, that is light colored rocks it brought. So three types of rocks are basically found on moon. And another thing what they know is, once moon was formed, it was drowned in a magma ocean. Okay, so on earth also, whatever comes out, okay, from the interior of the earth, when it is in the interior of the earth, it is called as magma. Once it comes out, it is called as lava. Okay, magma ocean was there on the moon, and then things happened in a different way. So that we know very well now, the evolution of the moon. And of course, after the magma ocean got cooled and all those things, maybe around 3.9 billion years back, that is 390 crore years back, lot of asteroids came and hit them. So that is the thing. So these are the things after Apollo we come to. And Apollo says one more thing. See, this is the face of the moon which is visible to us. See, actually, it looks like two eyes and nose. Can you see that? Okay. So this is Sea of Tranquility. This is where Neil Armstrong landed, actually. Okay. So like that, Imbrium basin is there, Mare Imbrium. That is Sea of Rains. So, but look at that, the other side of the moon, other hemisphere of the moon. There is no such thing there for the most part. The reason is this. The reason is this crust is thicker. That is what Apollo has indicated. Anyway, Apollo 17 was the last one. After that, nobody has walked on the moon. No human being has ventured towards the moon. It's sad, really. But anyway, Artemis program is there, United States, with the help of private companies, with the help of its partners, it is having a program called Artemis to take humans back to moon and for a sustained stay, not like Apollo 2 days, 3 days, come back, not like that. And that is there. India is also a signatory to it. Not that India is participating, signatory to Artemis Accord. And much water has flown in after Apollo program. Look at that, what your country has done. We are second to none. Not that we didn't have money and we didn't have experience like NASA, and they had their reason to send people to moon within a stipulated time. We are not in competition with anybody. We want to do science. India's first lunar mission finds water on the moon. Hey, you said there is no water on the moon. I said not like seas and lakes and oceans, but small amount of water is there on the moon. That is what your spacecraft has proved. Look at that. This newspaper, Guardian, is UK newspaper, not, we are not trumpeting. They are telling. Look at that. What else you want? Neil Armstrong landed in the equatorial area. Your country has landed Chandrayaan 3 Vikram lander in the south polar region. It is more difficult. So that's the thing. And now this is a picture which shows how actually Artemis program progresses. And this is a lander, this is a lander from SpaceX, and how they are exploring the moon as part of the Artemis program in future. This is the painting, and look at the Earth there. And now what next? After moon, what next? Artemis program is geared towards that. And of course, your country also has an ambition to send humans to moon by 2040. Okay, that is what is published. I am not telling. I am presenting all these things in front of you like a science writer, passionate science communicator. That's all. We sent Shubhanshu Shukla in an American spacecraft, American rocket, and this one. But anyway, we have a serious lunar program. What next? This is next. Next human destination is Mars. Mangalyaan, not Mangalyaan, Mangalyaan what we did, but anyway, Yana towards Mangala, no doubt about it. That is the target of humans, because to Mars we have sent spacecraft which have passed by, which have orbited, which have landed, which have taken rovers, we have sent even a helicopter to Mars. But we ourselves want to go there. That is the craving of humans. But when? Nobody knows. So much of funds are essential. Still, to moon and back, 1 week was essential. 1 week was sufficient. But to go to Mars and come back 3 years, how do the human system respond? So all these things have to understand. Maybe, if you are inspired through this, not my lecture, if you are inspired through the efforts of humans as to how they have explored the moon, maybe all of you or some of you may take up science very seriously, and who knows, you may also contribute a lot to our space program, okay, which always is geared towards humanity as such, okay. So let's hope for the best. Humans will be very judicious and they take up journey to Mars in a few decades, and this goes on and on and on. That is the feature of humans. That is the exploratory zeal of the humans. It is eternal. Thank you. Thank you very much for your attention. And audio was okay? Okay. So, any questions? I'll be the happiest. Yes, sir. One by one you ask if I can answer. What? But it is, I told you, basalt and breccia. They are volcanic, they are the rocks. Okay? Yeah, such rocks are found in the oceanic crust of the earth also. Yeah, they are rocks.
So why the far side?
No, that is what I said. It's a good question. They are not found on the far side of the moon, they are found on the near side of the moon. That is what Apollo, based on the information arrived at, by analyzing the samples brought from Apollo, they found that the crust of the moon on the far side is thicker. That is why such things, even when impacts were there, they could not do that, in fact. Okay? First make the craters, then lava could not come out and flood that. That is the reason. Okay?
So that's why the lesser craters.
Good. That is the puzzle which all of us are exposed to. Yes. Good. Thank you.
So that's why the craters are lesser on the far side.
Yes, craters are there, but not Maria, that dark areas. Okay? Because the crust is thicker, it could not come out easily on the far side. Okay?
One more question, sir.
Yeah.
I heard that
You keep it near.
I heard that the International Space Station is not going to
Last long.
they're gonna dismantle. I'm not so sure.
Yeah, that's what they want to. By 2030 or something, people are telling. Maybe it may go still further. Yeah, but anyway, a lot of private companies, including Axiom Space, which organized Shubhanshu Shukla's flight, they too are interested in launching private space stations.
Okay.
Okay, that's there.
Okay. So there won't be like an International Space Station again, like.
I don't know. In the same sense, it may not be there. It is more commercial now.
More commercial.
NASA wants the low Earth orbit to be commercial. Okay, that is.
Thank you, sir. Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
Yes, you can ask. I can hear. I will repeat also. Yes.
Sir, if the moon is small and so powerful to create tides, why is the earth not able to pull the moon? Instead, its moon is going far.
Okay. Moon is quite near to us. Okay. We can pull it, but it is moving further away. Okay. It is moving away from the earth. Why it is? You want to know?
No, sir, but the thing is that the moon is so powerful that it can pull the ocean tides.
Create tides. Yes.
Then why can't the earth pull it?
Who said it is not pulling? It is pulling. No,
Then-
I'll tell you.
then
Just sit, I will tell you. See, moon is, earth is spinning from west to east. Am I correct? That is why sun rises in, we say sun rises in the east and sets in the west. Earth is spinning like this. Moon is also in the same direction, it is going around the earth. Okay? Now, moon is causing the tides. As a reaction to that, earth is also doing that, and that is the reason why one side of the moon is always turned towards us. Next thing is, even today what is happening, due to this tidal interaction, okay, what is happening is the result of that. See, earth is spinning very fast, isn't it? Once in 24 hours. Moon is moving around the earth in 27.3 days. Got it? So this is moving fast when tide is there. Okay, when tide is there, as a in response to that, okay, earth is also pulling, and earth is moving very fast. So what it is doing, it is accelerating the moon. It is accelerating. Even if you have a spacecraft, okay, when you accelerate a spacecraft, that is when you increase its speed in its orbit around the earth, it cannot remain in the same orbit. It moves away very, very slowly. Is that the one? So moon will move away. After some time it may go to a distance of 1,000,000 kilometers. Now it is 3,84,000 kilometers. What will happen to earth? It will remain the same? No. Your day goes on increasing. In fact, when moon was formed, it formed at a distance of roughly around 20,000 kilometers. I'm not telling, scientists have told. Where is 20,000 kilometers? Where is nearly 4 lakh kilometers? It has moved away in all these days. In response to that, when moon was formed at 20,000 kilometers from the surface of the earth, earth was spinning so fast, it seems, it was one day was 6 hours. Moon has moved away because of the direction in which it is spinning, it is revolving around the earth. And earth is slowing down. Okay? This is the effect. That is why after some time, the day decreases, the day, duration of the day increases. 24 hours, more than that. Some people say that earth also, then after some time, it turns one face towards the moon. That is the view of some. Now I'll give you an example. Mars has got 2 moons, Phobos and Deimos. Compared to our moon, they are celestial potatoes. They are like mountains. But one of them, Phobos, which is very near to Mars, is circling in the opposite direction. That is, Mars is spinning from west to east. This is revolving around the Mars from east to west. So what happens? Moon is accelerated, this is decelerated. After about, say, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 million years, it's going to hit the surface of the moon, they say. It will not hit, it will be broken to pieces due to a force. Okay, it's too much for you if I say. But anyway, it will go towards Mars. That's why I said depends on the direction in which it is moving. Got it? Good. You made me to remember so many. Yes.
Thank you, sir. I am Arvind.
Yeah.
An advocate by profession, but a lot of patience for the science things.
Yes. You have a lot of work when people want to utilize this
Exactly, sir.
resources on the surface of
True,
the moon.
sir. True, sir.
People like you have a lot of work.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
I have 2 sets of questions, sir.
Yeah, please.
In my limited understanding, all the astronauts who landed on the moon are from the US.
Yes.
Though the Soviet Union started its excavation
yes.
by Sputnik 1 and 2, what made them not to land on the moon? This is my
Okay,
first
I'll
question.
answer that question. Next,
And
what is your second question?
why the next the programs are not they have stopped it, and why the at least Russia did not take it again to send its human beings on the land?
Both are related. Please kindly do it. See, Russians, I would not say Russians, Soviets. Soviets means Soviet rule. It was Russians only. Soviet Union is not Russia. But Russia formed largely Soviet Union. Even today, even after the collapse of the Soviet Union, Russia is still the largest country in the world. Okay? So during the Soviet rule, what happened that there was a very, very charismatic person like our Vikram Sarabhai. His name was Sergei Korolev. Korolev, written as Korolev, pronounced as Korolev. Okay? Unfortunately, he died. And there was no leadership which could able to take up the space program with as much of punch as he would have done. Unfortunately, he died during an operation. That is one thing. So that is why they could not do anything. Second thing is, so that's why they could not. Okay. The other thing is why Americans stopped. The top priority for Americans in that era, Cold War era, was to beat the Russians. Once they landed on the moon, they thought that they won the race. Then automatically the interest started reducing. At one stage, still after Apollo 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, they were sent to moon. 18, 19, 20 were also there, but they cancelled. Money was too much. America was very much involved in Vietnam War at that time. Lot of commotion was there in the country about the civil rights and all those things. And they had won the race in the Cold War era. I'm talking about those days. Things are different now. Okay? So that's the way it is. I hope I have answered both the questions. Yes. Yes, sir. Yeah. No, I would not say that. If Korolev were to be there, they would have landed. I would not say. Definitely things would have been better. Unfortunately, the person who took over from him, his name was Vasily Mishin. He could not provide that kind of leadership. Unfortunately for him, it was not possible. That's what it did. That's what it did. Competition was responsible. Yeah, please.
Yeah. My question is, there are a lot of craters on the moon. Given the gravitational by Earth, why were there any reason why they were not pulled towards Earth rather than hitting the moon?
See, gravitational force of the Earth acts on the end. Now, single crater kind of thing. You have to take it as a collective force. One thing. Remember Carl Sagan telling whether Mars affects me as an individual. When I was born, the gravity of the midwife who delivered me overwhelmed the gravity of Mars. That it is so far away. So that is what he said. Okay. So that's the reason, collectively. Yes. But there are certain irregularities in the gravitational field of the moon. I don't think it is something to do with Earth pulling kind of thing. Of course, tidal effects are always there. How much? That you have to say. Whether it is discernible by the human eye, that is one thing. Yes. Any other question? Yes, sir. No. There is no silly question.
Your last said, right? After moon, it is now Mars.
Yeah.
But this is actually
Correct. Yes, I will tell you. You want to go to a place. I will ask you one question. Do you want to go to a place which is somewhat like Antarctica, though there is no air to breathe? For all practical purposes, 96% is carbon dioxide. But still, if you don't have spacesuit and if you want to stand in a shirt sleeve environment like this, all the lungs all fluids in the lungs will come out, blood will boil, all those things are okay. But still temperature is, say, a little lower than in Antarctica. There is land, you can walk, you can see the sky. You want that world, or you want to stand on a hill, okay, which is as big as the earth. You can't see the sky because totally engulfed by clouds, and where your temperature will be plus 450 degrees centigrade. Pressure will be a crushing 90 times the pressure on you. Here, you are totally asphyxiated in a very thick atmosphere full of carbon dioxide. And if it rains there, it is sulfuric acid. You want that world or you want this world? First one is Mars, second one is Venus. That is the reason why they are going to Mars. Though Venus is roughly 4 crore kilometers away from the Earth, even when it is very near to Earth. Mars is 5.6 crore kilometers, Earth roughly say 6 crore kilometers. But still, Mars is a heaven. Forget Earth. Compared to any other planet of the solar system, Mars is a heaven. That's why we are going. Okay? Thank you. Any other questions? Yeah, please, sir. Good question. I was expecting. Why means simple. There is no atmosphere. There is no atmosphere. Here, Earth has got a fairly thick atmosphere, isn't it? It distributes the heat through convection, what we say. On Moon, there is no atmosphere. Heat has to travel from the day side of the Moon to the night side of the Moon, either through conduction, that is direct physical contact, or through radiation, not through convection, because of lack of it. That is why that much of temperature. Go to Venus, you don't find that kind of thing. Go to Mars, not that much. But on the Moon, on Mercury, this is the thing. Mercury has one side temperature is plus 425. On another side, it is minus 183. Lack of atmosphere. Good, good. Yes, atmosphere would have attenuated. I mean, it would have reduced the effect of meteorites. Earth also it is. Okay? Where there is no atmosphere, direct heat it is. Yes, license to kill it is on Mercury and Moon. That is why both of them, they look alike. Okay, any other question or any of our people? Yeah, could be. I don't know. Yeah, okay. So I hope all the questions are over. Yes. Yeah, yes. See? Can you find water on the Moon? All three states. Solid, liquid. Solid, yes. There are in the polar areas of the Moon, okay, ice, water ice has been detected. Okay, water molecules are clinging. That is, they are attached to the top layer of the lunar soil. Yes, they have been found. That is what your Chandrayaan did. Water vapor, once, I am not sure about it. Water vapor is there, vapor state means it gets escaped. Because escape velocity of the Moon is very less. Okay. Forget about water vapor. First of all, there will be dissociation of water into hydrogen and oxygen. So that kind of thing. So this is a continuous process. Even water molecules cling, only water ice is different. Water molecules, they are destroyed, created, destroyed, created. That is the way it is. That is what Chandrayaan formed. Okay, all over Moon. Good question. Really. Very nice. Anything else? Yeah. I'm happy that people are asking questions and I'm able to manage, I presume. Oh, good. Oh, when next one will be? Good. We'll have more programs, sir.
Hi, I'm Darshan.
Yeah, please.
My question is like, in this context of all this, it might be the travel to Moon, putting a man on Moon or on the Mars. In the modern times, now that Russia and US has all kind of, they have taken a slower path. Isn't it a good opportunity for India to take it up, considering the amount of what we say, the intellectual strength that has
precisely. You said that America and Russia were fighting, were competing with each other during the Cold War era. Russia has taken a slower path now. America is on the ascendant, it is maintaining. Now China is there, don't worry about it. To give a competition, to compete with United States, now China has come. But let me tell you, we are not in competition with anybody, Indian space program. But precisely this is one of the reasons why Indian space program is there. Has so much of intellect. Why don't we utilize it? Not for some utopian things, but for solving simple problems. See, we started with Aryabhatta, small things. Now we have 50 satellites which are working for India. They are the backbone of our economic infrastructure. At this time, about 50 satellites are working for India. And now India is not the same. It has to proceed forward. It is now no longer a third world country kind of thing. People look towards India with respect because of its ability. How did we land it? How did we land Chandrayaan 3 in the South Polar region of the moon? It's a very difficult thing. No other country has landed, not even United States. You see, I have reserved talk on what is the significance of Chandrayaan 3. I would like to speak during National Space Day. And kindly do come on August 23rd. Now you see what is happening. I don't want to preempt. You will understand what is the significance of us. Okay, so this is one of the reasons why to utilize the manpower, to utilize technical skills, our space program, it is one of the reasons. But the basic thing, which is the goal of our space program, as far as that aspect is concerned, it is to solve down-to-earth problems here. It started, now we need to sustain it. Now, such problems are not there. You have mobile with you. Once upon a time, to book it, to talk to somebody in Chennai, you have to book a trunk call. Do you do that? I can speak to anybody. Yes, today afternoon I was speaking to one of my friends using WhatsApp. He was calling from London. This one has happened. So, one of the reasons is, yes, utilize economics. Because some void is there, let us feel that no, it is not like. We have our priorities. That is what Indian space program is. Good. Hopefully. ನಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಸರ್, ಒಂದು ಚಿಕ್ಕದೊಂದು ಸಾರಾಭಾಯಿ ಅವ್ರ ಕಾಲದಲ್ಲೇ ಅಮೆರಿಕನ್ಸ್ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಗಿವನ್, ಬಟ್ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ಈಸಿ. ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ವಿಸಿಟ್ ಜಾನ್ಸನ್ ಸ್ಪೇಸ್ ಸೆಂಟರ್ ಇನ್ ಹ್ಯೂಸ್ಟನ್. ಇಟ್ಸ್ a lot of things there. Okay, so I hope all the questions were over. The last question probably. Yeah. 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 I know. Air went here. Antenna. Yes. No. That's why there were some reports. I am not qualifying such thing. From lavatory to laboratory, they said, in fact. No. See, I have seen near a toilet, not on the toilet. Near a toilet, we had a ground station, no doubt about it, in Peenya. I was a kid at that time in the Indian space. But let me tell you, our space program is nothing like anybody's. What we have done for the country, not an individual, I am talking about people like Sarabhai, Dhawan, Professor U.R. Rao, who was our governing council chairman here. Or take Dr. Kasturi Rangan. Then Madhavan Nair came and Kiran Kumar sir. He is our chairman again. What has he done, do you know? Again, I don't want to go on talking about it. Anyway, thank you very much. I think last question. So, my pleasure. Once again, please do come for all our programs. We will send it. Okay? So, kindly, if you want to give your mobile numbers, probably it would have been okay. You can give later. Okay? And we will send you the information. Thank you very much for coming and attending these things. Thank you. Once again, I thank my colleagues. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Pleasure, sir.
Thank you. I thank Dr. Guruprasad for such an inspiring talk. with the interaction, we can see how much people have enjoyed this. And thank you all again for coming. I also thank people online who have joined us. So there is high tea being served in the ground floor.